In the mid-1800s, New York City was relying on horse-drawn railcars, streetcars, omnibuses as ways to travel around the city. The population of New York City in 1850 was 515,000, and by 1870 it has grown to nearly 1 million. As the city size and population kept growing, a more reliable method of travel was needed and the idea of building elevated railway was brought up. While many suggest building an elevated line along Broadway, concerns of lowering property value stopped it from happening. Instead, the city decided to build its first elevated railway along Greenwich Street and Ninth Avenue, and that is the West Side and Yonkers Patent Railway, now referred to as the Ninth Avenue Elevated. In April 1866, West Side and Yonkers Patent Railway Company was formed by Charles T. Harvey. Charles envisioned an elevated line along Greenwich Street and Ninth Avenue. Charles was able to convince the city and state by promising to build a test track in Lower Manhattan at his own expense, which he will demolish if it is not approved. The initial phase was a quarter-mile-long test track using a continuous cable system. Construction started in July 1867. On December 7, 1867, Harvey ran a single-car test train down the short length of test track to prove his concept. His trial run was successful enough that he was allowed to continue building his track up along Greenwich Street to Day Street. After previews from the city, the state, and investors, on July 1, 1868, the state's Rapid Transit Commission gave Harvey's enterprise a green light. On July 3rd, Harvey ran his train on the test track, reaching a top speed of 10 miles per hour. The half-mile trail run was dubbed as a success. In the following years, the line ran on a single track and was extended to 29th Street. However, the line faced mechanical problems as well as financial and legal difficulties. The cable car system was proved to be impractical and ended up abandoned for months. In November 1870, the line was sold during a sheriff auction at the price of $960. In February 1871, the Transit Commission gave permission for the Elevated Railway Company to move on with their plan that will replace previous equipment with steam locomotives. After repairs to the existing structure, steam operations started on April 20th, 1871, with only 2 stations at a time, Day Street and 29th Street. The line became the world's first successful elevated railway. The trip from Day Street to 30th Street would take only 15 minutes, cutting more than half of the time of a horse-drawn streetcar. The line attracted suburban commuters from Yonkers and points north, who arrived at the New York Central Depot at 30th Street. The success of the West Side Elevated, which was later known as the Ninth Avenue Elevated, proved that public transit did not have to be tied to Broadway. It was the daily office workers needed and valued a good transit. In the coming years, multiple stations opened between 29th Street and Day Street, as well as southward extension to Morris Street. This includes a new 30th Street station replacing the 29th Street station, and Cortlandt Street station replacing the Day Street station. The line was also extended north, reaching 42nd Street in 1875, 61st Street in 1876. In March 1875, the structure was strengthened and the track gauge set to 1,435 mm standard gauge. By that time, it was 5 miles in length. In 1877, the first double-track elevated structure opened between South Ferry Terminal and Morris Street. By 1878, the line carried 8,500 passengers a day. By the end of 1879, the line reached 155th Street. Something worth mentioning is that the line makes a 90-degree turn from 9th Avenue onto 110th Street, then another onto 8th Avenue. This curve from 110th Street to 8th Avenue was the highest ever built at 100 feet above the street. By May 1880, the line was a two-track line stretching along Greenwich Street and 9th Avenue with most of the original structure torn down and replaced. The replaced station replaced Morris Street Station at the junction with the 6th Avenue line. By 1892, a third track was added between 59th Street and 116th Street. In February 1903, the line was electrified from South Ferry to 155th Street. Some steam locomotives remained for work service. Later that year, a new station opened at 110th Street and the Interborough Rapid Transit Company took over operation on the 9th Avenue elevated along with the other elevated lines in Manhattan. On September 11, 1905, an accident took place at the curve at 53rd Street, resulting in 13 deaths and 48 serious injuries. It is the worst accident in the history of New York's elevated railway. In November 1917, a new station opened at 151st Street on 8th Avenue. In July 1918, 6th Avenue and 9th Avenue trains operation was extended to 167th Street on the IRT Jeremy Avenue Line with stations at Sedgwick Avenue and Anderson Avenue. The line crossed over the Harlem River through the Putnam Bridge. About 5 blocks of the extension between Sedgwick Avenue and Anderson Avenue is actually tunneled due to the terrain in the Bronx. At the same time, express service started operating between 125th Street and 155th Street. On January 2, 1919, 9th Avenue elevated express trains started operating up to Woodlawn during rush hours. On December 11, 1921, Lexington Avenue Jeremy Avenue Subway trains started operating north of 167th Street at all times. Elevated trains would run to Woodlawn during rush hours, but terminate at 167th Street during non-rush hours. As of 1934, 9th Avenue elevated service is as follows. 9th Avenue local trains running between South Ferry and 155th Street during all hours, extended to Burnside Avenue on the Jeremy Avenue line during Sundays and late nights. 9th Avenue express trains running between Rector Street and Burnside Avenue via Jeremy Avenue line during weekdays and Saturday daytimes, extended to Fordham Road during weekday rush hour periods as well as Saturday morning rush and afternoon through PM peak. These trains ran express south of 155th Street southbound until noon and northbound afternoon, and made all stops in the opposite directions. In December 1938, following the closure of the 6th Avenue elevated, weekday and Saturday evening 9th Avenue locals were extended from 155th Street to Burnside Avenue to replace 6th Avenue elevator service. The 9th Avenue elevator was closed on June 11, 1940. Service remained between 155th Street and Burnside Avenue as the Polo Grounds shuttle. A paper transfer insurance was established between the shuttle and the IND Concourse line at 155th Street. On June 1, 1941, shuttle service cut back to 167th Street. On August 31, 1958, the shuttle service ended, and that sets the ending of the 9th Avenue elevated, a total operation history of more than 70 years. While most of the line was torn down, we can still find some remaining structures today. At Sedgwick Avenue and Anderson Jeremy Avenues, We can still see parts of the platform, though they are nearly ruined with trash. If you enjoyed this video and want me to continue this series on other elevated lines, please tell me in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.